Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic the Hedgehog reread podcast for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my comrades Lauren and Bruce, and today we are looking at more obscure comic books, I guess, in our last stop our last pit stop before jumping into American comic books.
Oh boy.
So we're starting off here with the Sonic 1 story manga, a 3-chapter promotional comic for Sonic 1. Lauren, Bruce, tell me what you guys think of this one.
Damn, I didn't even realize it was multiple chapters.
You didn't see the title pages for them?
I don't think I was paying enough attention to those.
Okay.
I find it funny they call it the story comic when there's not really much of a story to go over.
Yeah, not really. There's a little bit, but...
Yeah, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of Sonic 1 in most ways.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, really. It depends on what you mean by faithful.
I think it's as faithful as you can get with something like Sonic 1.
Well, the thing is, if you're doing a comic, it's either going to be like, sort of action stuff, or you're going to have to expand upon it, which is kind of what they did.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, actually, before we start in the comic, we have to start on the cover and talk about why did they give Sonic blue arms? Are you serious?
This is just a thing that happens in the 90s with Sonic.
It makes me angry.
Well, the title pages for the other chapters, I believe, corrected at least, so...
That almost makes it worse. Why did you get it wrong once and not all the
best part is they got it wrong on literally the first page.
Well, they I don't know, they realized their mistake. Who knows? His arms were blue in the manga last week.
Yeah, but so little of that was in color, though.
And the drawing style was kind of a little weird anyway. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I didn't think about it as much.
Yeah, the art of this one is pretty good, I would say. Other than the fact that they put the shoe buckles on the inside of Sonic's shoes rather than the outside facing ones.
This is the level of like nitpickiness we're dealing with you as opposed to me. I only noticed the obvious things. You're talking about Sonic's shoe buckles.
I think that those are
not even noticing either one.
Yeah, well,
shows are different levels of nitpickiness.
Yeah.
In any case, so yeah, we get to see Eggman, and then we he's plotting or whatever. His dream for the Chaos Emeralds in this comic is to use them to make a giant hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, I was getting some of the vibes of Eggman from the manga we talked about last week.
Wait, I thought that was just a joke.
Well, I don't know.
It probably is. I think he just wants to rule the world.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. But like, he was just joking. Like, oh yeah, you can use the energy of the Chaos Emeralds to hard boil the world's largest egg.
Just an example of its raw power.
Right. Like, I didn't think he literally wanted to do that.
I don't know. It's hard to tell how serious the Japanese comics are. So we basically then after that we get to see Sonic, who's playing with his band. From the old Sonic 1 concept art. You can see like a shoulder of prototype Vector in there somewhere, I think.
Yes, you can.
So yeah, Sonic is playing for animals and humans.
Yeah, so this is the weird thing, is that instead of designing like girl Sonic characters like Amy, the crowds are just full of like anime cat girls and bunny girls.
That was strange.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe this was from the same era that they wanted to give, like, the human girlfriend to Sonic, Madonna or whatever her name was, but it doesn't really fit visually, does it?
So, this came out before Sonic 1, right?
No, I don't know. Obviously, it was made before Sonic 1 was released, because...
for production.
Yeah, so, because it still refers to Scrap Brain as, like, Clockwork Zone, but,
okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, so I like that name way more than Scrap Brain. Honestly, name always confused me. Clockwork makes sense.
I definitely prefer, Clockwork Zone.
Well, here's the thing. In Sonic 1 proper, even when it was called Clockwork Zone, they didn't have a letter W, and so the title card always showed up as Clockwork Zone.
That's fine.
Sonic's gonna fight the Clock Orcs.
Right. It's an odd problem to have.
Wait, do they just not have a W in the game's font?
Yeah.
That's such a weird issue.
Yeah.
You have to change the name of the zone because we can't add a W into the game.
Well, I don't know if that's why it was changed, but that's something that was, because they could probably add a W.
I don't know. It could be really hard. You know, the limitations of retro games know no bounds.
Well, I know that like the Sega chorus, right at the start, takes up as much space as like 2 zones or something like that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just really needed that high quality thing. They couldn't even fit in a W.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. So Eggman attacks Sonic's concert or whatever, and Sonic gets pissed off, and he's gonna fight Eggman.
Yeah. So what is it with these manga and having Sonic look super evil when they attack people?
That's a good point, actually.
I think they didn't have a feel for what the character's expressions were supposed to be, because Sonic, even when he's at his not worst, but his most mischievous nowadays, has generally pretty soft expressions. He doesn't even do the toothy smirk that much now.
Well, and he's also very rarely portrayed as having fangs now.
Yeah, I think those left after Adventure 1 at the absolute latest.
Yeah. So, like, that is a good point. A lot of these manga like to show, not really, like, villainous, but he looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
He's more of a dick while fighting, yeah.
Like, he exudes prick energy.
100%.
Yeah, maybe that's why some of the British comics made the decisions they did, but
yeah.
In any
that'll
case,
be interesting to talk about later.
In any case, I do find it funny that Robotnik has these big like anime mechs at the start, and then after he starts kidnapping animals, then he goes to the cartoonishly styled badniks.
Kind of like that, because the badniks always have, or oftentimes have, animals in them, so it's an excuse of like, oh well, he didn't have them before because he didn't have the animals to control them.
Yeah, I suppose. And there's, maybe there's limitations to what other mechs can do on their own. Maybe that's the difference between badniks and, like, the gun mechs from the adventure games or something. I don't know.
Maybe
this is just me, but Sonic already being, like, a celebrity and playing music and being, like, popular doesn't really jive with the way I saw them. I saw them more as an ordinary person that rose up against Robotnik and then became prominent because he, showed bravery.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is the same deal, and we're going to get into this more, but this is the same deal as the Professor Kintober shit, where I want these characters, their personalities, and their notoriety to be a natural progression of who they are as people, not something that's just given to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, for a promotional manga, it kind of makes sense to show Sonic as a big celebrity figure because, our guy is going to be popular, boys.
Well, sure, in that context, I get that.
Yeah.
But, like...
But as a story.
Yeah, as a story, it would make more sense. I don't know.
No, I get it exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we... that's basically the end of the first chapter, and the second chapter is mostly just going through the different zones. We start off in Marble Zone.
I'm glad to see that Sonic dislikes Marble Zone just as much as most normal people.
I was gonna say, it's just as annoying for Sonic in this manga as it is for me in the game. And, Sonic saves some of the small animals, but they're only drawn as, like, slightly smaller than he is, which makes me think, like, were these not originally meant to be different species, or was, they just, smaller in the game because they had to be?
I mean, they are shown as being, like, slightly more anthropomorphic than, like, I think than the animals in the games usually are.
Yeah.
They have pretty similar design to the small animals in the games, but they are bigger and they do design. Talk.
Yeah, well, so they have similar design, but, like, the rabbit and the pig, I don't remember what their names are, they're very clearly, like, anthropomorphic, whereas in the games, they don't really come off as anthropomorphic to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe that's just me, but They are definitely way larger, and I think that's just a limitation of the game, though.
Yeah, well, and this is going to be an annoying thing across the Sonic series, is that you're going to have the anthro-furry characters like Sonic, and then you're going to have the small animals, but then they sometimes also just have big, realistic animals.
Yeah, no, that is an odd thing.
Yeah.
Happens in the series a fair amount. So
anyway, Sonic fights the Spring Yard Zone boss in Starlight Zone.
Yeah, you were saying this was faithful. I made a note of that too. I don't know about that.
Well, I meant faithful in that it contains a lot of stuff from the games when compared to other adaptations.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if that's your metric, sure. But it misses it. It also really annoyed me because these enemies annoy me a ton. That the Orbinauts in Starlight, Sonic's just like, no, I can just attack them directly. No, you can't. You can't do that.
Oh, yeah. No, that bugged me. Because those are some of the most annoying enemies in the game.
They should have shown him break an invincibility monitor first.
Yeah, that would have been...
I mean, honestly, yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of notes on going through the zones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun enough. I think that the art is pretty dynamic and generally polished.
Oh yeah, no, it looks good. It's just like there's not a whole lot to say about it.
No, not really.
I like that Sonic also has trouble with Spring Yard Zone because like that's a mood. I did a lot of trouble with it.
What are all these bumpers doing here?
I never knew what Spring Yard's deal was. I think we talked about it back in the Sonic 1 episode, but it's not technically a pinball level.
No, it's just a spring level.
Proto-pinball level.
There you go. Proto-pinball.
Yeah, it's a yard of springs, I guess.
Yeah.
Eggman's base in this comic is in the shape of it's like a giant turtle statue.
It's like Turtle Rock from Zelda.
Yeah. I don't know if this is quite the part, but it might be where Eggman is like thinking about Sonic approaching. He's like, the moment he sets his foot here will be his last. And then there's a heart in the thought bubble, and I'm like, what?
Mm-mm.
He's in love with the idea of hurting him.
It's a new angle.
Yeah. We get more fan translations plastering English swear words everywhere.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah, that's true.
We talked about it enough last time, I think, but it's still kind of funny.
It just feels off.
Yeah. Don't do this if you translate things, please. I'll say that in a lot of ways, I think that Marble Zone should probably still have been later in the game, but in some ways I think the zone placement makes more sense, because Sonic goes through Scrap Brain first, and then gets sent down to Labyrinth later.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a stupid order for the game, because then it would end on like a horrible note. I mean, you already do have kind of Labyrinth at the end, but at least you still have the God tier Scrap Brain music. I mean, Labyrinth music is cool too, but
yeah, I know,
and it's only one act.
I just mean as the height of the difficulty curve, you know.
I guess that makes sense. If you, I approve of that change from a story standpoint, but no, I don't do that in the game for any reason. It will not be justified.
Well, in any case, Sonic gets out of there pretty quick to go fight against Eggman, who does not have the piston machine. He doesn't really have a final boss machine in this comic. He just kind of grabs the animals with a claw, and then Sonic beats him.
He's just like, I have hostages. Now you have to submit. And Sonic is like, no.
This is the thing, is that it seems like in a lot of these, when Sonic is in a one-on-one fight with somebody, he is not challenged.
It really depends on the media.
Yeah.
Yes, he tends to be an overpowered protagonist a lot of the time.
I just mean in some of the other manga we've read, it's like whether it's Anton or, unless the robot is, subjecting Sonic to some kind of weird trial or torture, if Sonic can just blast through it, he beats him in one hit a lot of the time.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, a lot of the times in these stories, they don't have, they're not super long. They don't have a whole lot of time to spend on every little thing. Especially in this, when you're trying to adapt, much of the game. So that I think that makes sense.
That's a very good point.
And it's not like Sonic is a shonen protagonist with, a bunch of different power sets that you can have bounce off each other for 80 chapters per fight. But that's kind of it. Is that
Yeah.
Does Sonic beat Eggman on the last page or like the next to last page?
Literally the last page.
Okay, so yeah, not a lot of like epilogue to it. Not a really huge conclusion. It's just kind of a, hey, here's our comic, now buy Sonic.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
There are even a few frames, I don't know if it's at the end, where it's like, oh, you should play Sonic to learn more about this, basically.
Well, as far as promotional comics go, I think it does a decent enough job.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. If I was a kid in like the early '90s in Japan, and I was I bought this manga, I'd probably want to play Sonic 1.
Yeah, so it's a cute little comic. I think that it certainly represents the game pretty well.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
a
little light on any kind of plot
everything.
Or anything.
Yeah, it's
it was light on everything, but just looking nice, really.
Yeah, and I suppose for an ad, that's all it necessarily needs to be.
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't need to be much more than just looking pretty.
But it does provide a nice contrast to our second comic of tonight, which is a French comic called Sonic Adventures in the Claws of Robotnik, which I forgot to mention last time because I forgot it existed, so that's why we're doing it today.
This is a weird comic.
It is super weird.
It was good, but weird.
I enjoyed this because I am looking forward to Sonic the Comic so much, so this is just like a little taste of it.
Yeah, so this was written by Smoldo and drawn by Mr. B. That's all the names they're given, so whoever those guys are.
I will say the drawing style, I really like it. They're like they've got these elongated features and this sort of shine to the colors.
Oh, it's nice to look at. It's very interesting to look at, but it's very weird.
It is.
I like it because it's strange.
It is visually odd. It reminds me of the European cover art for Sonic 3. There's a very specific because they do the quill mohawk in this, but they do it better because they have it actually react to stimuli, wind or bend or whatever.
Right.
But yeah,
so this art, okay.
This is we start off with Sonic on Eggman's airship or whatever.
Yeah, thrown right into the middle of things.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and we have them bicker back and forth, and this is, I guess technically this is the first material with the Sonic the Comic or the American Sonic, the transformation backstory, I guess I'll call it.
Well, that's just from the Sonic Bible, right?
Right.
Yes, but I think of it only as the Sonic the Comic backstory because that's the only one that actually kept it.
Fair.
Okay, yes. But I don't think... I think they both drew from that. They didn't draw from each other.
Yeah.
No, this Sonic the Comic did not take from this.
Right. But yes, and that's where I'm like, whoa, okay. So now we're into something different.
Yeah, which I will say it does... This is we've got a weird halfway point with Robotnik's design where he has his black eyes, he has the Adventures of Sonic outfit, but he's kind of got weird proportions that are just between classic game Eggman and SatAM Robotnik.
Yeah,
he's got the sort of bulbous body and head, but he's got the spindly legs.
Yeah.
But the expressiveness of the art makes it work. I like it. I think he looks pretty decent in this comic.
He does. It works very well.
No, I like the designs of most of the characters in this, I would think.
Yeah, I'll say the Penguinator Bagnicks are huge and slightly humanly proportioned, which is really weird.
I guess.
Just as they're handing him the bag of Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Right.
And this comic's approach to Chaos Emeralds is weird.
Yeah, so I'm pretty darn sure there's something missing here. I know, of course, there's a second part to this that isn't translated, so we're not going to be covering it. But even more than that, I feel like the writers had something else in mind in the background. The Chaos Emeralds are sort of a hint at that. Yeah, I don't know if we want to get into that exactly, but yeah, there's
Well,
like
we'll get to the gray one soon, but I will say the second part of this is not it's not a continuation of this.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah, it's basically just like less than 5 pages of Sonic and Knuckles like beating up a robot, and then just them talking about Sonic and Knuckles the game.
Oh,
Well, then even more so, it's obvious that they had extra thoughts because there's things that are just not covered.
right.
Well, so the thing that I was saying about the Chaos Emeralds is that in this bag, like, there's definitely more than 7 in there, right? When he's holding all of them in his hands, that looks like more than 7.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So there's that, and they're all green, and that's, that's par for the course for 90s Western Sonic, because Archie will do that too, where it has more than 7 emeralds, and they're all green. But then you have the gray emerald, the controller emerald, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But then later on in the comic, they say, here, we'll give you the 7 Chaos Emeralds. And so it's like, what? What is that inconsistency?
Oh.
I don't
I
know.
feel like
Maybe it's
that's
just
a
me.
mistake, and it's just 7.
I don't know. But it doesn't matter because
more like
it doesn't
the
go in.
7 I have for you. I don't know. Maybe I'm conflating other information into this, and there's a different answer. But
Alright.
that would be my assumption. Is no, that's just a weird way of stating it, and there is more than 7.
Yeah, well, the point is I addressed it, which means that I don't have to give a shit about it anymore. Sonic breaks the chains that he's in, punches the emeralds out of Eggman's hands, and then just, like, falls out of the ship by accident?
I don't think so.
It seemed like it was on purpose. It
It
was
seemed like he knew Tails was there.
flashbacks to Blast to the Past. Sonic just jumps off and expects their companions to save them.
Well, but the thing is that Sonic at one point gets so close to the ground that he's like, well, this is it, I'm going to die.
Well, he's like, oh, I guess Tails failed me.
Yeah. But they land down near wherever, I guess.
The jungle.
It's apparently somewhere not taken over by Robotnik. The way they talk implies that he has a lot of control over the planet, kind of like in SATA M.
But they do call it Mobius as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a really great bit where Sonic is like, wow, it's great seeing all this untouched wildlife. And then he gets pulled down by some piranhas. He's like, I totally forgot the real animals can be dangerous too.
Yep. I had that written down. And I like that he also mimics the left-right mashing to get them off like in Sonic 3. Except those ones are robots. You guys messed up.
They wanted to put in a reference. I'm pretty sure they realized that.
Which, that implies that there's, because, I mean, this comic has a lot of Sonic 3 in it, but it's not an adaptation of Sonic 3.
Yeah, it's more like in the same vein as Sonic the comic. They take Sonic things, and then they just put their own weird spins on them.
So it kind of feels like maybe the idea was to make something to, like the previous one, maybe to sell Sonic 3 in France.
Yeah, probably. I actually don't remember when this comic came out. So probably around the same time, though. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Sonic and Tails, they're in the water and they're gonna go over the waterfall, and they're both scared about this, which Tails has, like, almost exclusively surprised expressions in this comic. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they almost exclusively draw him surprised.
Right.
Interesting, yeah. I'm thinking about that, yeah.
They're scared to go over this waterfall, and, it's like, well, yeah, you don't want to go over to a waterfall because it's dangerous. But then the moment they realize there's rings at the bottom, they just don't care, so I guess it wasn't that dangerous.
Well, so Sonic,
those rings.
Yeah, Sonic makes some reference to rings, like healing him or something like that.
I'll break all my bones, but I'll land on a healing syringe, so it'll be good.
Exactly.
No. He's been playing with zero rings this whole time. When you play with zero rings, you'll go for risk if suddenly you do see rings, even if it does put you in more danger. I know I would.
Oh, and that's why you'd be scared to go over the waterfall, because you can't see past that part of the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this also shows one thing. I don't know if you guys noticed. Sonic is drawn without a tail in this entire comic.
I
did
not notice that.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's one shot that they show him from behind, and it's like, oh, that's, there's something missing there. What is it? Oh, it said he doesn't have a tail. I don't know if he has back quills either. the waterfall, it leads out into a populated Echidna city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Echidna's just out of
so
fucking nowhere.
I think is that before or after Robotnik arrives?
Before?
Before, yeah, I think so.
Okay, go on then.
So there's echidnas here, and I'm pretty sure they referenced Angel Island at the start. But Knuckles is not in this comic, and nobody acts like they've met Knuckles. There's no mention of him.
Yeah, well, this is obviously a different continuity. Robotnik has like a space station that's not the Death Egg, as well. It's a smaller space station, so yeah, I don't know. I find it interesting that they're like, yes, these savages, they're like the descendants of the first people of Mobius or something. And it's like they're almost trying to sneak their way in amongst the established stuff. Like, no, these aren't the actual ancient echidnas. They're like a different group so it doesn't count. We're not contradicting anything.
Well, and that's the weirdest thing is that they talk about or not that they talk about, but they have the tribal aesthetic, and they even have the kind of Mayan looking temples. And this comic way predates Sonic Adventure. So like, is this something that Sega had internally years in advance?
That is a good question.
But yeah, the echidnas, they all look like Knuckles, and they're all jerks.
Yeah.
They just attack Sonic and Tails out of the blue.
So I'm pretty sure this is actually after Robotnik arrives, because I'm pretty sure when they're in the jungle, he attacks. I have to make a note because Robotnik in this is just like so full of rage. It's amazing. He's like, no pity, destroy all this swarming and useless life as he burns everything.
Oh yeah, the scorched earth moment where he's just like, I just need to kill some grass.
Yeah, he's really unhinged.
He loves the smell of napalm in the morning.
I mean, fair.
And then he just because he feels like it, I guess, kidnaps Amy.
For the hell of it.
Just needs an edge on Sonic. Gotta get that hostage.
For the memes.
This is also our first sighting of Amy's Sonic the Comic haircut, where her hair sticks way up in the back.
Right.
I actually like that design for her. I think it because it's different than her modern design where she has kind of the short cut, but it's also differentiating her from Sonic, because classic Amy just has sort of the same hair as Sonic.
Right.
Yeah, no, I like that as well, definitely.
Basically, she's kidnapped, but all she really does is just talk shit about Robotnik.
It's amazing.
And a lot of mentions about Robotnik's, or not a lot, but a mention about Robotnik's feet, which was weird.
Yeah, she keeps eventually like, oh, you smell like stinky feet or whatever, and it's like, okay. But if you're in captivity and you can get away with shitting on whoever has kidnapped you, you'll have my respect.
I guess so, yeah.
So Sonic and Tails are taken to meet the Echidna Princess Alucion?
I don't
know how it's pronounced.
I have no idea.
She's, gonna like sacrifice them to the volcano pools, or the lava pools, I guess. And her headdress has the Gray Chaos Emerald on it, which is significant in Sonic the Comic, and I don't know the specifics of that.
Oh, okay.
Well, you mentioned Control Emerald, which isn't in this, and that is like Sonic the Comic thing.
That's what the Gray Emerald is in Sonic the Comic.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's the significance. Is that something from the Sonic Bible, or is that just a coincidence that they both decided to give the Gray Emerald something special?
We
gotta go through that sometime.
Yeah. Anyway, so Princess Alucion wants to toss Sonic and Tails into the lava pools, but Eggman attacks, and so they just jump into the tube and pull her in with them.
Yeah.
And they have this winding water slide of death to the lava pools, and I do like the mode where Alucion's like, Sonic, we're gonna die, and he's like, no, but it's a fun slide.
Yeah, I love the fact that Sonic just likes going fast, no matter whether or not he's running or not.
That's great.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Also, I don't know if this is anywhere accurate in translation, but Robotnik initially shoots where Sonic is, and he swings down the slide, and he thinks he's defeated him, and he's like, "Oh, that's great." And he's like, "Wait a minute!" He looks over the ledge. He's like, "Damnation!"
Yes. I think that's probably accurate. It might be that it's too accurate, and they should have, a more accurate translation, or a more localized translation would have changed it to something else. But yeah.
It's yeah.
I especially like this little moment where Alucion asks Sonic what he did to make Robotnik hate him so much, and Sonic's answer is something like, "Oh, I wiped my feet on his mustache."
Yeah.
Which is funny, but it's also funny that this question is coming from a woman who is about to kill Sonic for literally no reason less than a single minute ago.
Oh, well then, you trespassed on the tribe. Yeah, of course you deserve death instantly. That's not a question in her mind. But why would it, like, this weird fat guy be chasing him around? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, he as Sonic is sliding down, I have to say he's screaming, "I will exterminate you, Sonic! Cut you into tiny cubic pieces and throw them to the piranhas." Savage.
That is
You're gonna
very
be
savage.
fish food. Yeah. But near the end of the slide, they like play like midair hot potato with Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Alucion, where they keep jumping between each other in midair. And, Sonic seemingly, makes a quote-unquote sacrifice to save the day, and we get good old death fake-outs. Gonna be seeing a lot of those.
Yeah, and as he's falling to his death, Robotnik takes a photo and says, "What a nice picture to hang over the chimney."
He's so great. He's always great. I never dislike Robotnik.
He's the best.
How could you dislike Robotnik?
But yes, doesn't actually die.
Right.
Yeah, no. Sonic and Amy, basically
they special stage.
Yeah, they just fall into a ring and they end up in Blue Sphere.
That's so weird.
I find it funny that Amy's like, "What? It's some sort of game?" And it's like they didn't even try to adapt the special stage into any sort of logical location. It's just a game you play to get the Chaos Emeralds.
I don't understand how you could with the concept of a special stage.
The comics do to some extent.
Oh, of course they do.
They try a couple different things. They're gonna get weird. Anyway,
It's gonna get weird. Okay.
So yeah, no, they do this. Sonic does the special stage, and they get out. And you say it's a trial for the emeralds, but it's like it's a trial for not being in the special stage anymore. And Alucion happens to be there when they get out and say, "Wow, you did that! Here, take these emeralds."
Butter dog, the dog with the butter dog.
Yeah, and I know the comic is short and all, and they don't have time to go over everything, but I still find it hilarious that Sonic clears one special stage, and the princess is like, "Good job. Have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, and also just a free teleport for laughs."
They really could have just made her like I don't know why she is even a separate character from Knuckles, because she's temperamental just like Knuckles is.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought she was Knuckles when she first appeared, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, that is a woman.
Yeah.
It was so weird that she's separate character from Knuckles.
I certainly could have just put him in place of her, I guess.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, it's, there are so few girl echidnas in the series, or other echidnas than Knuckles from the start. I'm not really complaining. Not that I expect this one to make any reappearances, but,
I mean, yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I'm just confused why it isn't Knuckles. Did they not know Knuckles existed?
They wanted to preempt SEGA by giving her Silver's pot leaf haircut.
Oh, okay. Perfect sense.
Anyway, Sonic's got all 7 emeralds, and they notify Tails like, "Hey, man, I'm not dead."
Yeah, because Tails is like so taking this to heart.
Yeah, he's like telling stories
really
about how
depressed.
great Sonic was to the other animals around a campfire. Yeah, but Sonic goes super, and he heads off to fight Robotnik, and that's the ending, and there's no follow-up.
Yeah, okay, good. I was very confused why there was no ending.
Yeah, it's like it never got any kind of real continuation. Even though they had Sonic and Knuckles the Ultimate Guide, they didn't use it for this, and,
Right.
I kind of see why they didn't, because following up this, in what's called a guide to Sonic and Knuckles would be like, you'd be lacking a lot of context.
I guess that's probably more
Yeah.
realistic to be the promotional comic for Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, but it's then like, why even end this on a cliffhanger?
Yeah, like this could have very easily been finished in like maybe 10 more pages.
Or they could have just reorganized things a
Right.
little bit. But it certainly didn't feel rushed in most aspects, aside from Hero
Not
and
really.
Chaos Emeralds. So yeah, I mean, I have to imagine they didn't realize that they wouldn't be able to continue it.
Yes, not.
Yeah, they probably had more plans.
And maybe this was originally supposed to be the start of a French comic.
I could see
Maybe.
that.
It
It's
had
hard
a lot
to
of
know.
promise, if so.
Yeah. I mean, I would read this comic. It looks just visually, it looks interesting.
I'm gonna use the word dynamic a lot to describe artists that I like on the series, but it really is just, it has
I think
personality.
dynamic is fair.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not that it's unfair, it's that I'm going to be overusing the word.
Oh, fair.
So yeah, it's like, we're covering it partially just to tick the box, but also because it's a very interesting, weird little thing, because it's a story that is very much kind of at odds with its source material, where, this is a quote-unquote adaptation of Sonic 3, but you don't have the principal character of Sonic 3. You have a character who's not in Sonic 3, and then you also remove the fundamental aspect of Sonic 3, which is that you're exploring a civilization that doesn't exist anymore by having civilizations still exist.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but for some reason, when you get certain details wrong, it's like, how dare you? But if you do like this, and you obviously aren't trying to be all that accurate, you're just taking light inspiration, I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it's honestly more interesting.
So what you're saying is that if Sonic had blue arms, but they radically changed his design even further than that, you'd be okay with it?
Probably, as long as it didn't turn out atrocious.
Sonic turns into like a purple, I can't think of another animal. Shit.
You had to say as long as it doesn't turn out atrocious, because, like, I was gonna say the original movie design.
Ooh. Yeah. Man, I wish we could have seen Knuckles in that art style.
I don't. Anyway.
Or Tails.
Anyway. So yeah, that's Sonic Adventures in the Claws of Robotnik.
It exists.
If only we had been able to see Sonic Adventures and the Horns of Naimon or something, I don't know.
What?
That was a random reference, but I appreciate it anyway.
I had to go for a classic Doctor Who reference to, like...
Oh, Doctor Who, okay.
It pleases me that me showing you the whole show now means you get to throw in random references now to other stuff we're doing. Anyway, but yes, Sonic, I would have loved to see more of this. 100%.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that, next time on Deep Dive Zone, we're going to be getting into the Archie comics, and it's going to be funny how, in a lot of ways, it's like we keep seeing these versions of Sonic, and the Archie comics are the ones that ended up running for 25 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Despite these, the comics that we've looked at so far are a lot more polished in many ways, at least in terms of consistency.
Well...
Yeah.
I mean, if you are the long-running version, you probably will be less polished. I guess that kind of makes sense.
I suppose, but you didn't know back in 1994 which one was going to be the one that came out on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
But on that note, I think we are going to be done for tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some neat things to look at.
Yeah, I am glad to have experienced these comics, even if we didn't really get a full, saga out of them. But, feel free to share, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at deepdivezonepod@gmail.com or at deepdivezone on Twitter. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see y'all next week.